Okay, so you said at the end of the last video, what were you saying? Make the point again?
It's interesting that it's not 0 twos, because when you looked at it before, the zeros made up a half of the total of all the numbers, that was the greatest probability.
Ah, I see. So half the time, in fact, if you just pick an odd number, which half the time you're going to pick an even number, half the time you're going to pick an odd number, half the time you're going to get 0.
And then that has a greater probability than 1 power of 2, which only happens a fourth of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're surprised that you think maybe since the most likely case is that you would get 0 powers of 2, exactly 0. You would think the expected value might be 0. Okay, do you know how to reconcile this paradox here?
Well, there's like some amounts like 2 to the millionth. There's some numbers that have 1,000,000 2's in them.
Right.
But those numbers can cancel out the odd numbers, sort of.
Sort of. Okay. Yeah, so I guess maybe what we have to be a little more careful about is what do we mean by expected value?
So it's like...
That's the value that you are expecting to come up the most.
Like if you did it a lot of times and then took the average of what you got, you would expect to get this value.
Yeah, it isn't the value that you necessarily expect to see the most. It's that if we repeated this experiment lots and lots and lots of times, and every time we did it, every time we picked a number, we wrote down how many powers of 2 divided into that number. And we made a list of those numbers. And then we took the average value on that list. It turns out that the average value would be
1.
1. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. We would have lots of times it would be zeros. In fact, half the time we would get zeros.
Yeah.
And how often would we get 1? Exactly 1.
A fourth of the time.
Fourth of the time. A fourth of the time we'd get exactly 1. But sometimes we'd get 2, and sometimes we'd get 3, and sometimes we'd even get 1,000,000. Wouldn't happen very often that we would get 1,000,000, but sometimes we would. If we did it lots and lots of times. Although we'd probably have to do the experiment quite a lot of times to get 1,000,000. So cool. No, that's a fun question. One last question. I think we probably have a little bit of time.
Okay.
What's your guess for the average power of 3? Before you even say a number, do you think it's going to be higher than 1 or lower than 1?
I think it's going to be 1.
You think the average power of 3 is also going to be 1?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know.
Actually, no. I think it's going to be a half.
Okay. Well, I'll come back in a second. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be more than 1 or less than 1 or equal to 1?
I think it's going to be more.
More. Okay. How come?
Well, if you do the same thing that we did here, then you see, you would do it with you would get well, I'm not sure how you would do it. Would you get a third, a ninth, a 27th?
Well, I don't know. I don't know actually. We could later on we could calculate it out if we wanted to. I just wanted to see what your instinct told you. If you'd be.
I think it would seem higher.
You think more, higher power. Okay, but you think it's going to be lower now. You think it's going to be half.
Yeah.
What's your reason?
Well, can I explain it here?
Yeah, if you want, or you can just talk through it if you want.
I mean, it's going to be the same thing as we saw here. With instead of a half times 0, it's going to be so it'll be a third or 2/3 of the numbers don't have any 3's in them.
2/3 of the numbers don't have any 3's. Okay, so lots of the numbers don't have any 3's at all. In fact, 2/3 of them.
The division is going to go 2/3 and 1/3.
Okay.
So 2/3 of these numbers, of the numbers that have 1 or more, 2/3 of those numbers are going to have 1.
Okay, so how many are going to have 1 total? What's the series going to look like?
So 2/3, so it's going to be 2/3, so 2/9.
2/9 have a 1.
Plus 2 over 27 have a 2
Uh-huh.
times 1.
Yeah.
Plus dot 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 dot.
Okay.
Like this, and then it's gonna, I can do my sort of column adding.
Alright.
So ignore this. And we get 2/9 and 2/27 like that.
Uh-huh.
And then going down. But then we've got to add this up.
Yeah.
I just thought that was going to be a half.
You just thought that was going to be a half. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's good. Turns out that is actually a half. It is a half. But good.
Yeah.
Good intuition. Alright, guys. Nice job.